Welcome back to Cornucopia of Thought. I think I'm going to stay here for this video because I'm tired of walking around and doing different cuts. Just kidding, of course I'm going to do that. Anyway, uh, follow up to The Words. The Words is a movie, spoilers, about, basically it's based off the Lost Hemingway manuscripts. The Lost Hemingway manuscripts were about the fact that Hemingway had a bunch of short stories that he had his wife have, and his wife lost them. And the story is about a guy who was really sad, and he wrote a story, and his wife lost the story, and then some other guy found it a while later, like 20 years later. The other guy found it, and he copied it, and it got super popular. And then the guy who originally wrote it from 20 years before, finds out and basically forces the guy to lose his job and get discredited, and it's bad. But the cool thing is that within there's a final frame, which is the there's another thing going on, and this story, The Words, is about a guy who wrote a story about the guy who lost the story about the guy who copied this, or about the guy who copied the story about the guy who lost the story. Make sense? So it goes, guy original Wright Booker wrote a book about a guy who copied a book that was written by another guy. Old guy, younger guy, real author. Real author wrote all these. This author copied this. This guy wrote that. And it's really cool for the frames. So I'm going to take this two ways. The first way is the meaning, and then the second way is the frames. I'm going to connect the frames to the Scarlet Letter, and I'm going to connect the meaning to the American Dream. Here's the meaning. The story tells you how people live in America. It tells you how this whole idea of success and living well off the backs of others. And it's a scary truth. Then once again, America has a lot of scary truths. I think that in the story, the movie makers themselves use the frames to create a meaning where there are many layers to a story, and lots of pain behind each layer. I think that's what the Words is about. And it's also the words underneath the words. It's about living your best life. And what's the cost of that? What is the cost of that? What is the cost of living your best life? Could be a lot. It could be the cost of freedom. As Darth Vader said to Harry Potter in Star Trek. Harry Potter from The Lord of the Rings in Star Trek. With great power comes great responsibility. It's true. Living your best life is a power. It's part of the American dream. And it takes a lot of responsibility to do that well. Next up, frames. Dr. Frank's favorite. My teacher, for some reason or another, really likes frames. Dr. Frank. It's true. He does. He really likes frames. And so I have to connect. I'm required to connect the Scarlet Letter to this thing and the frames, and it's all like that. So in the Scarlet Letter, there's the outside frame of the author writing about a guy who found a manuscript, and that guy who found a manuscript wrote a story about the manuscript. But like a guy writing a story about a guy who found a manuscript, who wrote a story about the manuscript. Or in this case, he literally copied the manuscript. It's like the exact same. Like the frames are like practically identical. And the thing about frames is that they answer number 4 of our essential questions. How does form or does form drive content? And I believe it does, especially in this, because there's only so much you can do with a haiku. There's only so much that you can do with dang it. That you can do haiku wise. Haiku wise. There is only so much that you can do with a haiku. Wow. This is cool, right? I wrote a haiku on the spot. But that's an example. I have a certain limit, and it inspires the content. I have a certain limit, so there's only so much I can talk about. And so, form inspires content, my friend. And, yeah. If you like these videos, I like making them, so please share, like, subscribe, do the whole thing. It's free, and it helps out a ton. Woo!